I mean, if the Canadian didn't win the apologizing question,
Yeah,
what are
this
we
is
even
this
doing
is
here?
this is an unfair question.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we have our first episode of a game show I'm starting called Rationale. We're not the first game show where points don't matter, but we are the first one to be named after a nudity joke.
Yeah.
Our inaugural contestants are Medieval, Raven, and Scylla. Today's
Hello,
episode
hello.
is all about friendship and affection.
Yay.
I mean, friendship, it is magic.
Now, the rules of the game are simple. You get the imaginary consolation prizes by arguing your point the best. Please don't try and step on others. It's just about how well you can argue your own point. Alright?
Okay.
Question number 1. It is okay to discuss religion and politics with friends.
To a certain extent.
Care to...
Because, so, it depends what kind of friend you are. It depends if you're going to be the type of friend who's going to judge your friends based on their political or religious beliefs. So it depends on that a great deal. And also, it's not... It depends on the situation. Like, if you're just randomly asking, hey, friend so-and-so, what are your religious beliefs? Like, that feels kind of targeting, in my opinion, or, you're looking to maybe just judge them on it.
So I'll pipe in on this one. I think the key word here is friends, which, like, I would say if they're your friends, that they know you enough that either you have similar beliefs or at the very least you respect each other enough that you can have a discourse and still be cool with it. So, yeah, I would say it's okay to discuss it with friends, not, acquaintances, not coworkers, not anything like that. Like people who are actually within your close social group.
Raven?
I will say my point is kind of similar to Med's in that if you are good friends with someone, then discussing religion and politics is less of a murky subject than it otherwise could be. But also, before you begin the discussion, make sure your friend is okay with you having the discussion. Right?
I mean, that's...
If it's going to head into a topic, there are many topics within religion and politics, some of which can be triggering, like certain Oompa Loompas in the American government.
Well, let's not get too political on my video.
Yep. And so I think it's okay. It's better to have, better to know that the person wouldn't mind having the conversation about religion or politics before you start the conversation.
Oh, this is...
Yeah.
Go on.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I mean by knowing the certain situation, knowing, hey, if you have a friend whose political and religious beliefs differ greatly from yours, then it's going to sound more like I said earlier, where you're attacking them. But, like, knowing those boundaries and knowing, like, when the right situation is really important to have those discussions or to know not to have them.
Yeah.
Also, I would argue there are certain friends you can talk about this with and certain ones that you can't, and that's just kind of knowing your friend, man.
Yeah, that's the point Raven brought up, and I'll admit Raven did steal the point from Med with that.
Hey!
I won't lie,
And you know
I made up my mind before Stella started speaking again.
That's fair.
This was not... To be fair, I didn't have like a set idea, but the way you guys were speaking in the first set of discussions, I didn't expect a second round.
Hey, you know what? This is all about friendship and affection, and I'm just happy that my friend Raven got a point.
Yeah.
I'm subtracting
Good job,
a point from Med. Honestly, which is
so
bitchier?
Proud of you.
Which is bitchier?
I know that's a lie on Scylla.
Shut up. Leave my vanity out of this.
Man, it's weird not to have an answer slide on one of these.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, you'll probably just cut this out, but it's probably like the Smosh one that they do, where it's like they divide the room in half and it's like agree, disagree.
Yeah, no. That was actually part of the idea behind this. Like those kinds of agree or disagree content, like Jubilee did.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Next up we have the best activity to do with a friend is what?
Well, it depends what kind of friends you are. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck's sake.
Sorry, I had to make the joke. I'm sorry. Were you drinking?
It's Raven,
He was
and we made
drinking.
him laugh. Yes,
Yay!
he was at least
I
going
did it.
for it.
You know what? Actually,
Yeah.
I'm going to clap back on that one, Scylla. I think that
Mm.
there's an activity that is the best to do with any friend.
Okay.
That is an escape room.
I love escape rooms. I will agree with you on that.
I think escape rooms are great because, number one, you can kind of see how your friend deals with pressure, but you can also be supportive for that friend during that. And then it's like it's cooperative, so you're not trying to like butt heads. You're like doing these puzzles, and usually escape rooms are very immersive. Yeah,
See, I'm
so that's
I'm
my thing.
I'm gonna be typical me and say that I'm a little more of a chilled, laid back kind of homebody kind of person with my friends, and I'd prefer either doing something in house, like watching a great movie and ordering some Chinese food, or going to the mall and hanging out there and spending a little money and complimenting each other on what you buy. I definitely prefer a more laid back experience with my friends. I feel like there's more downtime to connect and to talk about things that you wouldn't get the chance to talk about when you're doing an activity such as an escape room.
I mean this purely jokingly. Did either of you believe her when she said she was chilled or laid back?
Shut the fuck up.
It's
So
Scylla is one of those friends where she's chilled and laid back until she's super comfortable with you, and then just immediately kicks into full gear.
yeah,
I am 100%
so
like that.
I will say Stella kind of stole my the point I was gonna like bring up to watch a movie and that. So I will instead pivot to my second favorite activity to do with friends, play video games.
Oh, yes.
See, you can still argue
Especially
the same point, but have different ways of
yeah,
arguing it.
especially a video game you both enjoy and is cooperative, like let's say Halo or Stardew Valley. If you have friends that enjoy that game, play it with them, because then your friendship will deepen because you'll work out better ways to do things together. At least that's the way it goes for me, anyway.
I honestly feel like Med argued her point best, in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
Scylla was a
Damn.
close second, but Raven, I won't lie. Just starting off with the fact that Scylla stole my point, so I'm gonna do this other thing, kinda doesn't sell it, right?
Hmm.
You gotta be
I'm aware.
confident in yourself, friendo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
confidence.
that's impossible.
Aw.
That's okay because with me getting this point,
Raven is echoing through you.
I know, it's because this headset keeps disconnecting.
anywho, with me getting that point, I believe that brings me up to 0.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
actually take a point away. I was just joking.
Damn it, Panda. Oh, Looney's here. Too little.
I think Raven may have been swallowed up by the ether.
I'm gonna do this. Hey, Looney, you there?
Yeah, sorry.
So, admittedly, we didn't know what happened to you, so I pulled Raven in as a fill, and then Raven's headset is dying. So, do you want me to quickly explain the rules, and you can just take over for Raven?
Yeah.
And obviously, don't talk over each other, because that always sucks in the editing.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I tried to take a little nap because I didn't get any sleep.
Oh, good, it happens. I don't know what to do at this moment, honestly.
Uh.
I was waiting.
Alright.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Alright. Everyone ready to continue?
Yes.
Looney, just an idea of where the score's at, because obviously you're just showing up. You and Med are tied at 1, Scylla's 0, but this is literally the second question, right?
Yay.
Okay, okay.
So it's literally the second question.
I know.
The salt is palpable.
Alright. Third question. It is okay to joke about otherwise off-topic issues with friends.
Can we get a clarification on that one?
Yeah, I'd like a clarification.
Things such as normally bigoted comments, stuff like that.
Like politics.
Oh, like dark humor.
Political stuff and stuff.
We talked about politics and religion already. I mean, like making fun of things like people's races if you know they're okay with that stuff.
Oh, okay.
If I
Yeah.
want to say, I'm going to say yeah.
Well, argue.
So if agreed by both parties, I feel I feel that it's a very okay topic to joke about. Now,
Yeah.
however, if it's not agreed upon by both parties, it is completely not okay.
Scylla?
If I can, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier about really knowing a situation and knowing your friend well. If you have like your best friend in the whole world who is against those kind of like dark humor, taboo jokes, then it's not okay to make them. But I would say I do agree with Looney that in some cases that it is nice to joke with friends about this kind of stuff, especially if they'll laugh with you. But I really do think it's more of a no, unless you know your friend really well and know how they'll react, because it's all about, I guess perception, and you don't want to be perceived by your friend as a bad person.
Yeah, the situation reading.
So I'll go ahead and take kind of an interesting stance on this. Comedy is a very subjective topic. Like, even with friends that have a similar, sense of humor, it's still kind of iffy. That being said, in my opinion, anything in this world is able to be made fun of. Anything in this world is subject to comedy, from lighthearted puns to the darkest of topics. It is. I think if you're the kind of person who would make those jokes, you probably surround yourself with people who you can make those jokes with. So I feel like you as the Joker have kind of already answered this question. If you're like, oh, this is my kind of humor, you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make sure I at least have a friend who I can make these jokes with.
I will say it's close, and also I mentioned this before, but some of these do kind of target specific people, right? I do think I'm going to give this point to Scylla. And anyone want to guess if they think this was being targeted to them?
I think this is targeted to men.
I was gonna say probably either me or Looney.
I was gonna say me.
Yeah, it was
Definitely
Looney.
not me.
Yeah,
I
I'm
see
like
Looney with his friends, man. It gets fucking wild.
yeah.
It does.
Because I am also a dark humorist, but not probably as often as Looney.
Low question. What is the limitations to swearing on camera? Is it like just as long as there's no racism and stuff?
Yeah, just try and keep it like reasonably clean. We've said fuck before and stuff like that, but like try and keep any like thing that could be considered slur out.
We have
Yeah.
fucked before and we will fuck again.
But yeah, man, it gets pretty fucking wild
Uh,
in my
I've
friend groups.
I've definitely heard a couple racial slurs from some of them.
Uh-huh.
Alright.
All right.
Next up, we have the best way to apologize is what?
The best way to apologize is most sincerely as you were able to. I mean, it's up to you to apologize the way that you see fit, but it's important you consider the person you're apologizing to and their feelings, and it's important to actually be sorry for what you did and not just be sorry that they're upset or angry. Um but yeah, that's my opinion.
Alright.
Just sincerity.
Look, as the resident Canadian here, I feel like I need to weigh in on this. No, for the most part, I'm joking. Um, yeah, okay, so I'm a big fan of like just straight up verbal, like, I mean, obviously, if you are a verbal person, but I'm a fan of just straight up communication, just blunt, like, hey, my bad. I'm sorry, I messed this up. And then also explain, like, why you either did what you did or said what you said. Because I think it's interesting to get the perspective of someone who did something wrong. Because we do something wrong, not a lot of the times not knowing at the time it was wrong. And that's kind of how you learn and educate
Yeah.
people.
And Looney?
So I also kind of want to take on Med's point of view. I feel like not blunt apologies. I want to change on that point. Okay, not blunt, but like the blunt way to go about it. I feel that just being straight up and apologizing about it is the best way to go. Depending on the situation though, if it's something where you've really kind of fucked up, you have to take responsibility and like own up to your actions and speaking out about it.
Alright. Honestly, tough call. I do think I'm gonna give it ever so slightly to Med.
Heck yeah.
I could agree with that.
I mean, if the Canadian didn't win the apologizing question,
Yeah,
what are we even doing here?
this is an unfair
Uh,
question.
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
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 God, once I figured out how to do the Canadian apology, sorry. I don't know why it's like
Sorry.
SURRRY.
Yeah, it kind of is. There is a U in there for sure.
You know what it is? It's SAURRY. It's like
Sorry.
It's like Sauron. Sorry.
It surely do be like that.
Alright. Next. It is reasonable to loan money to friends.
It is not reasonable to lend money to friends. I wholeheartedly do this
You
unless
really
you
cut
have.
out a little towards the beginning.
Sorry.
Would you mind restarting?
Hi. It is not reasonable to loan money to friends. It is usually unreliable to loan money to friends based on the fact that, friends can be unreliable at times and can, this is a very pessimistic view, by the way, can betray you at any time, but loaning money is different than giving money to a friend. And I personally don't enjoy when people loan me money. Um, so I'd have to say it's definitely not reasonable to loan money to friends rather than just saying, "Hey, I'll help you out. Here's some money." I understand why you would do a loan, but I'm just not. I just don't think it's something you would do with a friend because it's. I just don't feel like it's something you would do with a friend to loan them
I'm
money.
noticing a trend of
Yeah,
Solar's answers feeling very circular.
circular.
So
How?
I say it is not reasonable at all to loan money to friends. Never mind loaning money to friends, I don't even loan money to family because family members have been unreliable to even paying back money. And I will give my own personal point of view as well as to why loaning money to friends isn't reasonable. They can lie. They are also able to betray you. and they could use it for other things that, you know, kind of aren't used what they say they may use it for. They could gamble with it, or they could buy not so legal items, and you know that's not what you want your money used for. If you're going to loan someone money, you want to use that money to help them. That's kind of why you're loaning it to them, because they need that money for something, not for something, you know, bad.
I don't know if I'm just the only person who hasn't been absolutely stepped on by the world. But okay. Let me give an optimistic but also realistic answer.
Be the contrarian, Med.
I will be the contrarian because I like to see the good in the world, but I am also not blind to the fact that, like, look, if you know anything about the personal issues that I've gone through, which I won't get into, trust me when I say loaning money to friends or family can be absolutely a terrible idea. I think you can do it once and then see like what happens. Does the person have a good record of like paying you back? Then sure. If not, you're like, look, you have your track record for a reason. I'm sorry, probably not. Unless you're in a position where you can afford to not get paid back. Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't think it should be an instant no. I think it should just be a trial basis.
I will also say, in my own experience, a lot of kids would ask to loan money in school, and I actually started to keep a ledger because it was actually getting out of hand.
Huh.
Your panda
Interesting.
being a school mob boss.
I didn't even charge interest.
You're not to pay me my money back. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Hold on, I
Oh my
apologize.
god, Looney.
It
Hold
was
on,
definitely pushing
I
that
completely
sort of
forgot.
question.
Apologies.
I do think I want to give the point to Looney too, just because I didn't consider this going to a place of like them using it for purposes you didn't otherwise intend. Which, by the way, would be a breach of contract law, and I believe any of our countries, depending on the jurisdiction's rules.
If it's like a friendly, like if it's just like your friend, oh yeah, can I borrow a bit of money? Like it's there really a contract there where it's just more of like a,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
borrow
more of
does
like an
imply
audible
willing to
thing.
repay, and verbal contracts are a thing in law. Some jurisdictions don't even allow them to begin with, right?
Yeah, I think it's just a little different over here in Europe then.
I mean, there are two types of legal systems, and all three of our countries share one because it came out of the UK and the countries they colonized.
Which was most of them.
Most
Yeah,
actually
could
do follow the other one. Except we have the worst thing a friend can do to you that isn't illegal is what?
Oh, I got a great one for this. Okay. Um, sorry, I know that I've started out a lot. Um, I'm gonna say the worst thing a friend can do to you that is not illegal is steal your significant other. I've had that happen to me once, and it is a terrible experience that makes you lose trust in the friend for the rest of your friendship. Or if you decide to cut that friend out of your life, it makes you just lose trust in them, lose interest in them, lose any kind of good memories you had about that person. They all just go right down the drain. Not to mention all of those memories you had of that significant other and the trust you had with them too. It's one of the worst things a friend can do to you is to steal someone who's a romantic interest, who's important in your life, and who is supposed to be able to be relied on by you. It's just not. It's not something you should do ever to anybody.
I got a real vague answer, but
I
it.
was gonna,
Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
Med started. Med started.
yeah. Go on.
Uh, for me, it's, and I don't tolerate this with friends, family, whatever, is just lying. Like, just openly communicate with me like a human being, and we can probably get through quite a bit. Um, but if you're lying to me about like heavy stuff, it just kind of shows that you don't trust me, and we should probably just part ways.
So
And
mine's kinda goes out to like my past childhood. Um so repeated neglect is it's like constantly just they kind of cancel plans last minute. They take forever to respond to messages. They prioritize like other people constantly over you. And I'm not saying you have to be the center of attention here, but then there comes the point of when are they just straight up ignoring you, or when have they got, a family situation?
yeah.
But it's the canceling plans, ignoring your messages, and just kind of not being a straight up asshole, but just basically being an asshole.
See, I'll admit, I expected Scylla's, but Looney's also had a really good point to me. Med, I'll be honest, this is where we fundamentally disagree, because I don't view lying as a moral issue as long as it's not like a grand thing.
Yeah, there's some points where people have to lie for a good reason.
I don't know.
Like,
I disagree. I think things can be worded differently, but you don't just have to. Because to me, it says that you don't respect the person enough to tell them the truth.
well, for me, a
Uh,
large part of it is there's just some questions that don't feel like there's. Like, the classic example of somebody being like, does this outfit look bad on me, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't view that as a win scenario unless you say yes no matter what. I think I'm gonna go with Scylla on this one. Why do these keep
Yay.
ending tied? Next up, we have. It is okay to casually hook up with friends and act like nothing happened, / it was no big deal.
Okay, so I want to apologize for jumping right into this, but I know like this kind of like the whole point of this. Sorry. So my take on this is it really depends. It really does depend. Now, if it's if it's kind of like a situation where you have like this strong friends with benefits type relationship where you've been constantly kind of like not flirting, but like teasing and prodding at stuff, and you just kind of decide, do you want to hook up, and you feel that it's okay, then yes, go for it. But then there also comes the situation of you might end up fucking up that friendship, and that's just a big no-no in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'd rather not do that, if you get what I mean.
So you don't think it's okay in most circumstances, is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, it's a big no-no in most circumstances, but if you've got like a really strong, like friends with benefits type relationship, I mean, by all means, go for it.
this answer might shock you, given my stance on a lot of things. I think because of the way this question is worded, I would disagree. Because specifically of the acting like nothing happened / it was no big deal, I don't think you can hook up with a friend without like acknowledging that that happened and that there is now a change in the dynamic. Whether or not that's emotional or whatever, that is kind of what aftercare is for, to check in with anybody that you're being intimate with and being like, hey, how are you holding up? Like, that's necessary for a friend dynamic. You can casually hook up with a stranger and act like nothing happened, but with a friend, like, no, you should check up on each other.
And so,
Yeah, I'm gonna say 100% flat out no. It is not possible for you to just have a friends with benefits thing and for it not to be weird at some point in the future. Personally, I'm gonna say that I don't do this ever because I catch feelings super easily, and I find that it's not a good idea. It just leads to somebody getting hurt in one way or another, and it will eventually ruin your friendship. So my answer is flat out no, it's not okay. It's not possible.
I believe I'm going to give this one to Med. And anyone want to guess who this was targeted to?
Me?
I feel like this was targeted to me.
It was definitely
Oh, actually, Med.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you're the only. I can cut this if you want, but I believe you're the only person who openly identifies as polyamorous in our friend group.
I believe so.
Do you
I
want me to
think
cut
so.
that, by the way?
No, you don't have to at all.
Okay.
I'm very, very proudly polyamorous. And also, polyamory is, in and of itself, it is a relationship thing. Hooking up with
For sure.
friends is very different. But yes, I am a very open person when it comes to sort of that lifestyle.
It's more just like, it is still technically revealing stuff about you that we didn't discuss prior was okay, right?
Oh, 100%, and that's why clear and open communication.
Why did you say
Tying
that
it
as
back.
if you were like some kind of weird like spy movie character?
I was Zap Brannigan.
I hate it here. I
Me
made
too.
this and I still hate it here. Next up we have the most wrong love language is. I also probably should have phrased it as worst, but honestly, I think it's a little funnier this way.
I'm gonna go with control. And once again, we come back to the, Med looking at things from a polyamorous perspective.
Can I just
But,
does
oh, sorry, go ahead.
does control count as a love language? I think it's more of an abuse tactic.
Well, there's a lot of people that would disagree with you. I'm not one of them. But there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, of course I go through my partner's phone and I'm always making sure who they're talking to and all that. That's because I love them. Folks, this is not a love language. This is, in fact, an abuse tactic. It is a red flag that you should notice very early on. Unless, of course, you guys are both into that, and in that case, you're a match made in hell. Enjoy.
Or at
Huh.
least purgatory, depending.
Okay. Um, the worst love language that is somehow in a positive manner is probably acts of service. And the reason I say that it's acts of service is because, yes, it's cute and romantic to do them, especially in the beginning of a relationship. But eventually, you will come to expect those acts of service, and it will lead to resentment when they are not done. For example, when you are dating somebody and maybe you move in together and they're like, "Oh, honey, I'm going to cook dinner for you." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, yes, that's great." Later down the line, a few years later, like you're married and you're living in a house and one of the partners is making dinner and they end up yelling at the other partner and saying, "Hey, why do you cook dinner anymore?" So, acts of service, yes, they are very nice and very, very helpful for the building a relationship, but ultimately they lead to disappointment and resentment of your partner.
Mine's is also a similar type of take to Rosie's. Mine's is conditional love. And someone who grew up originally around conditional love, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, so how I would describe it is like, it's like I'll only love you if you succeed, or you kind of like you look a certain way. Like if you look good, I'll love you, or like if you do good in bed with me, I'll love you. It's it creates insecurity, and it makes the love feel kind of transactional rather than unconditional and supportive, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Which just feels the worst in my opinion.
I'll admit, I definitely did not think of going to places like control and conditional love when I made this question, but I do really like the take, right? And I will say, I very strongly have personal connections to Scylla's and Looney's answers, but I also can't deny Med has a legitimately very strong and valid point. I'm genuinely unsure of who I want to give this point to.
I mean, it is also your quiz. You can give multiple people points.
You
I feel
can.
like
That is
going on
true.
this eighth question, I feel that would be a weird precedent to start now, right?
Yeah, fair.
You know, I'm just looking back at my childhood now, and Looney's point is bringing up several memories that I wish remained repressed.
Yay.
I think I'm going to go with Looney's answer and hope that stops the voices in my head now.
Yay!
Yay.
Welcome to trauma.
Oh, Matt, I've
Yay.
been here for a while.
We have cookies.
I've been trying to catch a train, but they say I have too much baggage.
Oh my god.
It is funny because it is self-deprecating.
Why are you Russian suddenly?
Have you not seen that Family Guy joke? The guy who like explains the
Oh
joke.
yeah.
I do not remember this, no.
I've seen that.
I'll send it to you afterwards.
Alright. Question number 9. It is natural for friends to make fun of people's significant others slash dates.
Just no. Just it's not okay. Your friend is your friend, and it's your job as their friend to support them in everything they do, even if what they're doing is fucking stupid. And that means what?
I do want to point out, I'm not saying
Yeah.
okay, I'm asking it natural.
Oh, natural. Um I think okay, let me pivot then. It is natural for people not to make fun of their significant other's dates, but to maybe find flaws or find things wrong, which is sort of different than make fun of people's. I think, like, as a friend to somebody, you're going to want to protect them, and that's where you're going to try and in your head make fun of them or make fun of them to your friend. That's you pointing out the red flags and trying to protect them. Yeah. So I think it's natural, but I also think sometimes it's important to keep those points to yourself.
Taking natural take from Rose, if it's like, kind of natural banter between you and your friends, like, to kind of have a laugh, like, about people, not in like a complete bad way, obviously, not like completely making fun of them, but if it's like wee tiny things, oh, they're a bit stupid sometimes, or, you know, they make dumb decisions sometimes. I feel that that's okay, but when you're straight up just berating this person and you personally haven't met them yet, I feel that it's wrong. But like if you're also friends with this person's significant other, if yous all three of you talk together and stuff and yous are all friends and they can take a bit of banter, yeah, then it's completely okay. But if you don't know this person personally, a tiny nitpicky stuff, in my opinion, is fine. So it's to me, it's a 80 yes, like 20% no.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go with a hell nah. Um, like, I think that there's warning people where you can be like, hey, this person maybe not so great for you, but I think if you're making fun of somebody like behind their back, that's kind of cowardice to me. Like, I don't know. Like I said, like I guess a little bit of what Looney said, like if you know the person, and like it's kind of a roasting type thing, like, oh, this is something that I would say to this person if they were here, then them being your friend's significant other is kind of superfluous. But if this is just, this is my friend's significant other, that's all they are to me, and I'm just gonna shit talk them with my buddy. Like, I don't know, I would expect my partner in that scenario to kind of stand up for me and be like, that's not cool.
So, I think I want to give the point to Looney on this one, honestly. And also, so this was directly referencing the guy I said had a wide head.
Leave me alone.
Not even fat, just it was factual.
Leave
just
me
a
alone.
wide head.
This
What?
poor guy. I haven't
What did
seen
I
him in
miss out
years.
on? That made me cough.
It was years ago. This guy I used to see in New York.
Again, the head was not fat. It was just factually wide.
Louis, I'll show you a picture of him later.
Good. I want to see this.
Absolutely. I'm so interested in all this.
You've seen a picture of him, Med, definitely.
Have I?
100%.
Was it on an IMAX screen?
What? Oh my
What-
gosh. What's the next question, Japan?
It was
since,
on his
since I
forehead.
need another point.
Yes.
Alright. The last question.
Oh my gosh.
The worst insult you accepted from a close friend because you knew they didn't mean it negatively is.
I can't say it. Bad word.
These can be bleeped out and made in be put into
If you
editor
think it-
notes.
Can they be bleeped out?
If you think it needs to be bleeped out, maybe just say the first letter.
Okay, I've got a friend. I think we all know him very well. There's a word that he likes to use in reference to. It starts with a C.
It's rabid, right? The Scotsman.
Yeah, it's rabid. It's 100% rabid.
So yeah, you all can guess.
Yeah, he likes to poke and make fun of me, and he doesn't mean it in negative context. He would never. He knows I would gut punch him for doing that. But we constantly call each other this word, and that's probably the worst insult anyone could ever said to me if they meant it genuinely.
I think the best way I can describe it for the audience without playing too risky is if you know the leader of the Great Heathen Army in British history, switch the second and the third letter.
Is this a little charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent?
Yes, 100%.
I had to point that out to my mother, who had watched
I
6
love that.
seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race, that is what that spelled out.
I love that.
What was the N in it?
Nerve.
Okay.
So, mine's is also. I don't think you could say this and still get monetized.
I'm not monetized to begin with.
So, mine's is. To me, it's not a slur because I use this in my day-to-day language because I am one.
I know what you're saying.
Let's
I know
just
what you're saying.
just say it's the bad version of calling someone homosexual.
Starting with an F.
Yeah.
Could
The
mean-
British cigarette.
Yes, I was going to say could mean cigarette in your country.
Yeah, pretty much. So obviously I know he would never mean it negatively, because it's how we banter. We call each other stuff all the time. That is kind of like our language. We're never nice to each other, and when we are, we call it our gay moments. We're like, okay, that's our gay moment for the year. See you next year. We go back to being mean to each other. So, yeah, as someone who also uses it in their day-to-day language because they are one, I know they would never mean it in a negative way.
Okay, this one. I know that I talked before about, like, you got to be confident in your answer. I know this one's not going to win, but it is easily my favorite, like, dig at me that a person has ever done. A friend of mine, I think we were just like eating like a very big like buffet or anything, and of course I'm going to town. And a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, permission to make fat joke?" And I was like, "Permission granted." They looked at me in the eyes and went, "Fat joke." And I was
Oh,
like,
that's funny.
"Fair enough."
That's funny.
To me, that was just like, I have so many fat jokes to make about you that I'm just gonna look you in the eye and say fat joke.
That's funny.
See, I love that. And there's definitely a huge level of beautiful simplicity in that.
Mm-hmm.
There is.
But-
It's such an anti-joke that it rolls around and becomes funny again.
But I do also have to kind of consider, because obviously, you know me, it's hard for me not to account for a certain amount of cultural significance, but when, like, viewing each of these issues, right? And obviously, there's always a little bit of, like, how much can I truly know, right? But I do
Yeah.
think I ultimately, just because of the culture shock of coming from like Scottish to American, I do think I have to give that to Scylla.
That's fair.
Yay.
Alright, so let me end streaming so I can put in the points.
God, I don't want to see my score. I know it's bad.
And with that, Raven turned to Looney did manage to squeeze out at a 3-4-3 situation.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
Ned, Scylla, and Brits.
Well,
Nice.
because of what happened with Raven, like Looney not showing up initially, and then we got Raven, and then we needed to pivot back to Looney.
Yeah.
What was the original question? Like the first one.
Oh, the first two, yeah, since you weren't here. Discussing religion and politics with friends,
Yes.
and best activity to do with a friend.
Bonding. Like just in general bonding, which is
Well,
anything.
how do you go about it? Because you can bond a lot of different ways, but a lot of those are activities. Like Med argued escape rooms, Raven argued video games, and Scylla argued movies, right?
So in my opinion, gaming or like, any sort of like team communication thing, because you argue, you're friends, you argue,
Uh,
you don't argue, and it's you're building this toughness and your relationship.
I am gonna say this: you won already. Why are you still arguing?
I know, but I still want to give my point of view on the questions I missed. But yeah, in my opinion, gaming.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us today. There's not going to be a prize in these because the prize is the serotonin you get from an imaginary point that means literally nothing.
Yay.
I genuinely thought you were about to hit us with the points where like the friends you made along the way.
Man,
Oh my
let's be
God.
real. I'm gay. I'm not that gay.
You know what? That's valid.
But thank you all for joining us today. I appreciate hopping Instagram. It always means so much. I hope you have a good one today and stay safe. And we'll see you next week when I'm probably going to return with a Pokemon quiz. Let's find out, right? Bye!